Hi everyone, and welcome to my very first YouTube channel video, where I'm going to be hopefully turning this into a series of videos looking at what you can do with old computer hardware in 2017 and beyond. A little bit about me: I'm an old British computer geek that worked in IT, telecoms and internet security for many years, hobbied with computers for many years. To give you an idea, I used to program or learn how to program or break open the protection on ZX Spectrum games many years ago so that we could copy them in our computer club when they used to come on cassette tape. And since that time I've built computers, broken computers, rebuilt computers, programmed computers, helped people learn how to use computers. That's really been my skills for many years. I also, in the early 80s, through training I did through my first jobs, I learned how to build electronic circuits, use soldering irons and test components, that kind of thing. It was a hobby that I didn't really keep for very long, because about the time I took it up, the world was moving away into programmable CPUs and microprocessors, so that what used to be work that was carried out by electronics hardware became software programs that programmers put into a machine to get to do the same thing. And that was until recently, when with the advent of single computer boards like the Raspberry Pi and the Arduino, and what's called maker projects. You'll hear a lot about maker projects, where people are hobbyists are again making electronic circuits that talk to computers, that can do all sorts of wonderful things: operate cameras, make robots, turn on off your household lighting, all these kind of good things. And I thought, yeah, I fancy doing a bit of electronic stuff again for myself. So picked up a soldering iron again recently, didn't burn myself the first time, and decided I was going to start learning or relearning what I'd forgotten about electronics. Now, I'm also at the same time a big fan of the laptop. I think the laptop to me is the ultimate computing device. It's just a good all-rounder at everything it does. It's portable, it's usually got a good screen to work on, a good keyboard. Yeah, it doesn't fit in your pocket like a smartphone does or a tablet does, and it probably won't play the latest games unless you spend a vast amount of money on it. But other than that, it'll do just about everything else in one package. Added to that, my main operating system that I use these days is Linux. You may have heard of it. It's a free alternative to Microsoft Windows. And whereas with Microsoft Windows you are usually in a position where you're having to buy a new version every couple of years or so, maybe even change your home desktop or laptop to run the latest version, as many people feel they have to do. Linux will basically run on any old piece of crappy hardware right up to the most modern day machines, so it can breathe new life into old hardware. And so I thought, well, I fancy showing people how to do some of that on a YouTube channel, and hence that's why I'm here today doing this video. So what I'm looking at is buying, rebuilding crappy old laptop hardware and turning it into something that is usable today. And it's quite surprising how cheaply you can find this stuff, and doing a little bit of research and learning how to take these things apart and do some basic fault finding, you can build yourself a very usable computing device for probably less than £100 in today's money, or if you're in the US, about $140. And so that's what I'm trying to show you on these videos. So I'm personally a fan, not a fanboy of IBM and Lenovo laptops. I've always liked the build of them. They're quite sturdy built. Most of them are reasonably portable. The one in front of you here is a Lenovo T61. It's got their ThinkPad design, which I think is just a nice rugged design that works very, very well. And so what I decided to do was to buy some crappy old broken ones and see if I could fix them and get them to work. And so far I've been doing this for a few weeks now, and I've certainly built 4 machines now that are now workable laptops, which is one of which you see in front of you now. Okay, so why am I doing this? Well, a number of reasons really. I've got plans to run some after school evening computer sessions with youngsters and with older people. I've got a passion for teaching people how to use computers properly, how not to be afraid of the internet, how to act with common sense and not be subject to fraud online. Computers like the Raspberry Pi have brought back the notion that youngsters can learn to program and learn to build these days apps on smartphones very, very easily. There's never been such a huge amount of resources for programming and how to learn programming. So again, to teach kids how to program in a language like Python so they can develop their own programs would be something that is a good thing to do, and it's a very usable skill to employers these days. So to have a whole bunch of cheap laptops that can get bashed about by kids to that end is a good thing to aim for. On a more personal note, I also have a bunch of old friends who many years ago we used to carry our desktop PCs round to each other's houses, hook them together onto an internet and play games, onto a local network and play games like Doom and Quake and Unreal Tournament. And I spoke to some of my friends only a couple of days ago and said, do you fancy doing some of that again? And they said yes, but we're not we're not carrying our huge great home desktops round to your house for a bit of gaming. So I said okay, I'll see if I can put together a few laptops that will just allow us to play those games. And ultimately I've built the first Lenovo T61 for that. Those of you that know 3D Mark as a benchmarking program will see it running as it tests the graphics hardware. Again, it's old graphics hardware. You know, the benchmarking program is from 2001. It's an old program, but for the types of games that we want to play over a network, it's perfectly a good piece of hardware to use for that. So why buying it more expensive? So that's the purpose of this video. My intention is to review each laptop I build. I'm not going to show you how to take it apart, because if you do a search for, say, Lenovo T61 screen replacement on YouTube, there will be a much better video by someone who shows you screw by screw how to take the thing apart and change the screen and put it back together again. And there's no reason why I need to repeat that. And indeed, I use some of those videos myself for my own rebuilds. But certainly have a look at the type of laptop to buy, how to avoid buying a piece of useless crap that doesn't do what you want to do. Think about what it is you want a secondary laptop to do. You know, do you want a cheap £100 laptop that means you can leave your £1,000 MacBook Air at home, or your £1,000 high-end laptop at home, not being totally paranoid about bashing it or breaking it or having it stolen? So again, you know, maybe £100 for a laptop you can just carry around and not care if it gets too broken or stolen. As a secondary daily driver is a good thing to have, and certainly it's extremely easy if you follow some simple rules to get something that works very, very well, as does the T61 in front of you now, which is 10 years old, but it's entirely usable. And this particular one, I'm running XP at the moment, yes, and I'm happy to have a discussion with people on a later video about the merits of using XP now it's an unsupported OS. But my main OS is Linux anyway, so I don't really use Microsoft Windows very much anyway. just use XP for a few games, and that's really it. So anyway, thank you for watching. In my next video, I'll probably talk a bit more about the type of things to look for, and how to spot a good bargain, a good laptop to buy, and then probably start reviewing some of the ones I've built up, like the one in front of you. Thank you very much. Don't hesitate to like and subscribe, and speak to you again in the future, and do leave any comments you feel are appropriate. Thank you.